Welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Lives. Today, I want to talk about how to survive the empty nest. The reason this came up for me, and I didn't pull a card to give me this idea this week, although I did pull a card right before I hit record because I love doing that. And I wanted to see if it enlightened me anymore with anything else that I should bring up while I have you for these few short minutes that you're listening. And the card was incredible and so related to this topic. I can't believe it. So I'll show it to you in a minute and I'll read it to you. But first, I want to talk about why I picked this topic. I had I did a free training last week, and the name of the workshop that I did was called the Midlife Mindset Mastery. I'm going to do it again in January, but I did it in December. I really wanted to help people understand what thoughts that they're thinking. I call it baggage because that's what it is, right? We carry this around, and those of us that are older have a lot of baggage. And so, good and bad baggage, it's all baggage in our luggage. We have positive memories and negative memories, but with that baggage, we carry around thoughts that emanate from beliefs that we have that we believe, but aren't necessarily fact. And it's very interesting. It's how the brain works. So I go into detail on that in my workshop. If you're interested in a future one, you just go to notyouraverage.com/mindset and you can sign up. But it made me think because at the end of the workshop, I got some emails thanking me for it because it really resonated with a few people, a lot of people it resonated with, but for people to actually email me, that means it really resonated because not everybody emails. So I assume there's a lot of people who didn't email me that it resonated with. So the people, and I love people when they email me afterwards, because then I've got into an email conversation with a few of these ladies. And what they are saying, a couple of them at least, are saying that they're struggling. They're struggling now that their kids are gone. They're struggling to find a place in the world because being a mom was like how they identified, and they loved it. Was like the job. Even if you have a full-time career, you can still, your number one job as a mom, that was my favorite job, even though I had a full-time job. And so I thought of three things that made a difference to me, and that I think could help you if you're in their shoes. If you're struggling and you're in this place of, I can't believe that all that time is gone and here I am. Now what? Now what do I do? And some of us dwell too much on the past, and we're not focused on, really all we have is the now, the present. But there's so much to look forward to. There's so much you can do, and it's a clean slate, and you have time now because you're not being a busy mom anymore and filling all your time. Like I used to spend all my time taking my kids to soccer practice and soccer games and doing all the things with them. And it was, when that world stops, it's like, now what do I do on my weekends? So it's really a great opportunity for a reset, a life reset. So the three things, and let me show you the card. And well, if you're watching this on video, but I'll tell you what the card is, describe it. It's a woman, a beautiful woman, in fact, walking through a gate, and the name of the card says "Walking Away." Now, how incredible is that I pulled this card? This did not give me the idea for this episode. Sometimes I do that. If I'm like, okay, what should I talk about? Universe, tell me, give me, an idea. And so then I pulled that, and I'm like, holy crap, that is so relatable to what this topic is. So I just had to share it. And the reason why I pulled a card is because I thought, well, maybe I'll get some more download. Maybe I can add something to this. And so here's the card and what it says: walking away, letting go, moving on. This card shows someone walking away from an existing situation. She is closing the gate behind her and is walking away into a misty, unknown future. This card upright reveals that it could be time for you to make a similar decision. There may be something that you're finished with, perhaps a career goal, a relationship, or a long-term experience of any kind. The familiarity of the situation may be enticing, but you're now ready to look at your options on the open road ahead. In reality, an important new beginning is at hand. This card also indicates that now would be a good time to let go of an old habit, emotional pattern, or false belief. No matter how deeply ingrained a negative pattern may be, you now have the power to release it and move on to a freer, healthier way of thinking and relating to yourself and others. Whether it's in the inner or outer world, this card is telling you that you have the readiness and resources to walk away from the old and move forward now. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? I think it's so interesting because it says walking away into a misty, unknown future. And that is a scary thing. And we tend to let fear keep us where we are instead of being excited about the unknown and looking at it as an adventure, because the magic is on the other side. The magic happens on the other side of that fear. And so I think that is very interesting. And I also think as it relates to the workshop I did, it's crazy because I think this is speaking to those women who were there to learn about their old habits, the negative thoughts that are driving these habits that are keeping them stuck. And it even says that false belief, because I just said, like, it is a false belief. It's like the fake news in your head. It's not really true. You believe it, but it's not true. And typically these false beliefs are, I can't, it's not possible for me. I don't have what it takes. So there's, I'm stuck. I'm too afraid. All those are automated thoughts that are coming up for a reason from your past. And I just call it fake news in your head because we all know what fake news is, right? It's not true. So let me tell you what my 3 tips are about how I survived the empty nest and my lessons. It took me some time, I think, to understand this. But in the moment, I think I did some things that helped me a lot. And now looking back, I think it's something that can help you possibly. So, number 1, focus on what's good for them, meaning your kids, and not what's good for you. And that might be a bit of a hard pill to swallow because, I think it's important to make you a priority. But in this particular case, making you a priority tends to be, I want them here because it makes me happier. It makes me feel good. Well, that's not good for them. And we all want to be like, we all want the best for our children, and clinging on to something that is gone, essentially. I mean, you can still have a relationship with your kids, but it's an adult relationship. It's not that, mom-child relationship that, you have to let them be independent. You have to let them go. And I remember back when my kids went to college. So my kids were in school 2 years apart. So when the first one left, I still had another one. I always feel sorry for people with twins, but I had a second daughter who was still home. So it, in fact, was good for that relationship because then we had more time together. She didn't have to share her time with her mom, with her sister. But when my older daughter left for college, and we lived in Virginia, and I still live in Virginia, but she went to Florida. So it was a long way. It wasn't something she could come home for the weekend on. And so what happened is I focused on how excited I was for her because I knew that she was going to be having this amazing experience, meeting new friends. And instead of focusing on what I lost, I was focused on hearing her stories, hearing what friends she was making, what like she was doing, like joining and rushing a sorority. She was on the soccer team, and and she would check in. And fortunately, we live in a world where there's the internet. Think of the old days when people had to go off to college and they had to write handwritten letters home. So that I'm sure was hard, but I still felt connected to my daughter. And I was so excited. I thought I was going to cry every single day after she left, but instead I looked forward to her messages where she was meeting new people and having those experiences. And that really worked for me. I remember the day or the evening that we said goodbye, and we went to this little, she went to school at this college in Florida that has this little great, it's almost like if you think of the Monopoly game, like that Park Place. It was like it's little boutique-y, really great street in Winter Park, Florida. And we were in this little, I guess, bistro, and there was a guy playing music, and he played this old song, I'll Be Seeing You. Oh my gosh, I am like a choke up just thinking about it. And I remember looking at her sitting there, and she's so excited. And yes, tears came that evening, but that was the only time I ever had tears, because it was a transition, and I knew it was going to be a good one, and I knew it was going to be for her. So my first tip is to really focus on them and the change and the new experiences, and not about you. So number 2, find something new to occupy your time. And it can be anything, but it has to be something new and different, something that you didn't do before that you're going to do now. It really creates this excitement inside of you. So it doesn't have to be, maybe learn something new, use it as a hobby, new DIY project or something to that effect. Learn how to play an instrument, learn how to speak a new language. So that is an idea, a new job. Maybe your job that you're in isn't lighting you up. So maybe you think about getting a new job. And even if you've been in the job that you've been in for a long time, maybe it's time to start new. Think of that. I mean, we cling on to things that don't necessarily give us what we need just because it's safety. It's a comfort zone type of thing. But if you're not lit up every day when you go into that job, then you should find a new job. Your number one priority should be finding a job that lights you up. Take a course. Find some training if you're interested. Like maybe you've always wanted to do photography. Maybe you want to learn more about birds. I mean, there's so many online trainings that you can take. You can start with YouTube videos. I have a lot of people who say, I'm bad at technology, or I'm technologically challenged. Well, take a course on how to learn your computer better. So there's all kinds of training, and you don't have to go back to school. A lot of us have a mindset of, oh, I don't want to go back to college. Well, you don't have to go back to college. In fact, a lot of kids nowadays are becoming entrepreneurs with no college degree. It's kind of accepted now. And honestly, you can learn a lot more, I think, because I have, by going on the internet and finding something that's interesting to you and learning, rather than going back and taking like basic level English, math courses, which sometimes you have to do to get, if you want to go get another degree. If you just want to take courses, I still think it's quicker and faster and easier on the internet. So also organize a group. So one of my clients, she had moved to a new area and she was really struggling, and she just started getting involved in the activities. And that now she's really lit up because she's connected. We need to connect. We need to feel like a part of something. That's just the social human beingness that we are. And the people who connect, and it's really hard right now with the pandemic, but with the vaccines out, hopefully people will feel a little bit more comfortable about going out and things will be relaxed in 2021. But you can organize a virtual group. I have another client and she organized a bunco group. So it's all in virtual. So you don't have to be in person. It can be virtual. So that's what we do when we have a pandemic, but it's still you connect. I don't feel any different now with the pandemic because I Zoom is my go-to. I use Zoom every single day. And so I connect with people every single day. And so it's really great to have that social connection. So be an organizer and start something that you like. And the great thing about being an organizer is that you get to pick what you want to do. So before the pandemic, I put out an email about like who wants to go jump on the trampoline, because I had jumped on the trampoline, those indoor trampoline places. I had taken my grandkids there and it was so much fun, and OMG, what a workout. What a workout. I was so sweaty. And so I thought, I want to find some people, because I don't want to just have to have my grandkids here. I guess I could go by myself, but that's not really much fun. So I put an email out on my next door neighborhood email system, and I got quite a few people interested in going to jump on the indoor trampoline. So, and it was really great because they were all over 50 too. So find something new to occupy your time. That's tip 2. Number 3, know that you were meant for more. So a lot of us think that that was our purpose, our kids. Then they're gone and we have no purpose anymore. We've been stripped of our purpose. I believe that's one of our purposes. We were meant to be our children's mother. We were meant to, they picked us. So of course that's our purpose, but it's not our only purpose. There is something deeper that you are meant to do. And if you haven't found it yet, you owe it to yourself to find it. A lot of people don't really find their purpose until late in life. I'm finding so many of them, and they think they can't ever find it, but they just don't know how to do it. They haven't given the time because they think it's not possible, but it is possible. It's inside of you. And what you've done up until this point is exactly what you've needed to learn to go and pursue your purpose, if that makes sense. So you now have the time to go and find it. And if you're feeling unmotivated, if you're sitting on the couch a lot, if you're watching a lot of TV, if you're feeling this void of passion inside of you, that means that you need purpose in your life. You need more purpose. And I know some people will disagree with me, but I'm going to take a stand on this. Your purpose is not your grandchildren. You can love on your grandchildren and you can enjoy spending time with them, but when your life revolves around your grandchildren, you're robbing the world of what your true purpose is and giving that to them. Some choose to replace their children with their grandchildren. And I don't think that is necessarily helping out your children, because I have heard of people who get taken advantage of by their children, and you might like that, and that's okay. But I think it's great for children to figure out how to be adults in the world. And part of how to be adults in the world is how to figure out how to get childcare, how to figure out like get paid. If you're doing childcare for your grandchildren, they are not valuing your time if they're not paying you, and you're not valuing your time by asking. You don't have to like charge like the going rate, and it's also important that you have time for yourself to figure out what else you're meant to do in the world instead of babysitting your grandchildren. And it's okay if you don't agree with me. That's just my opinion, and we all have our own opinions about that. But I do feel that people there was an agreement. They came here and they were meant to do that. And they're just missing that opportunity to be a brighter light in the world. And it's there, and it's not babysitting your grandchildren. So the next thing that I wanted to say too on that note is that, now don't get me wrong, I love nothing more than spending time with my amazing grandchildren. I have 5, and they're all unique little snowflakes with their own special personalities, and they make me laugh, and they're hilarious. And if I could, I would probably want to spend all day, every day with them. But it's my daughter's job, or my 2 daughters, because the 5 are from 2 of my daughters. But it's my daughter's jobs to parent them. And I feel that is their job, and I don't want to interfere with that. So the other way of looking at it is that I can definitely spend my days with my 5 grandchildren and help them in positive ways. However, if I do that, who am I not helping? There are more people than just 5, I feel, for me to make a difference to in the world. My impact will be very small if I just focus on those 5 children. And I know they're in good hands. I know my 2 daughters are fully capable. In fact, I think their kids are probably they're going to be better parents. I don't know that they're going to turn out as good as my kids, because I think my kids are pretty fantastic, but they are better parents than I was. If I had a redo, I think I'd be a lot better parent knowing what I know nowadays. But that is the perspective I choose to take. Let them parent and let me make a bigger impact in the world. So know that that possibility exists for you. Don't minimize your ability to make a difference in the world in a larger way. And let that ripple effect ripple wide, because you are meant for more than sitting around sulking about your empty nest. And make 2020 your year to stop settling for the perspective of missing and dwelling on the past. So make 2021 focus on changing your perspective and applying these 3 tips. So you won't be looking at that empty nest as a disadvantage anymore. You'll be looking at it as a huge advantage. And you won't even recognize the person by the end of 2021 if you take action and start to do the things that we talked about. So apply those 3 tips and change your perspective. It'll help you, and you'll feel so much better. And I'd love for you to keep in touch. You can email me. You can reach out to me on social media. Let me know what the find something new that you choose to do is, because I want to cheer you on for making a decision and going after something new and different and choosing a new adventure in your second half. So have a great week. Christmas is coming. I am going to do a special podcast on what I've done this past week. It's kind of not my normal. It doesn't go in line with midlife transformations, but it's about health and what I've done this past week. And it's amazing, and it's going to help you if you're interested in 2021. And it is only $10. It's like crazy. and I'll tell you more about it next week. I'm going to do that episode. It'll be out on Christmas Eve. All right. Just in time for the new year. All right. Talk to you later. Thank you so much for tuning into the Not Your Average Lives podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe on iTunes if you have an Apple device. You can find free resources and learn what else I have going on at the moment that might interest you on my website at notyouraveragegrandma.com. You can also find me on Instagram or Facebook at Not Your Average Grandma. If you liked this episode, it would make my heart so happy if you could leave me a 5-star rating. You can also add a review to let me know what you like about this podcast, which will help spread the word about it to others who need a little midlife inspiration. As always, be you, listen to your inner voice, and focus on reigniting that lost spark so you can start living your own, not your average life.